Good morning, I'm Sheridan Carter. Welcome to my studio here at Sheridan K Quilting. I would like to show you today how to load a quilt on the Lenny frame. Lenny comes with a standard frame and we have ours blissed because that makes the machine move like a dream. Let's talk a little bit about Lenny before we get started. So Lenny is actually on display here with the Texas Hold'em, which means that the quilt top roller has been removed. See this where we added this in? We took the quilt top roller off so that we could use the Texas Hold'em. That's an option you have with the APQS machine. Certainly not required, because when your machine arrives, you would have 4 rollers, and the one that I took off would be the one for your quilt top. Lenny also has a double braking system. It's a compression brake, so that when you push this down, this squeezes the roller and doesn't allow it to move. Also, up here, the same thing, a compression brake to lock those down and to keep everything nice and straight. But today we're going to focus on loading this quilt on our beautiful APQS frame. So let's start loading this quilt. You know, with a quilt, you have a quilt top, you have your batting, and you have your backing. The backing is what we're going to spend a lot of time talking about because that's the foundation of your quilt, and you don't want your foundation to not be straight. We use zippers here at Sheridan K Quilting. It's just one option. There are many ways to load your quilts to your APQS frame. So I'm just going to look at this and get myself comfortable. I have a safety pin in the top of this backing. That helps me understand the orientation that I had planned. If you are traveling into a studio to quilt, those safety pins can help you from getting the quilt turned around. So I'll mention those periodically during this video. So I'm looking at this and I want to find the zipper that says top left. I found it, and that is my top left. We attach the backing to the take-up roller and to the backing roller, and zippers work really well for this. I'm just going to give this a little toss across the frame. Then I'm going to spread this out, get it nice and even. Now if that's my top left, this is going to be my bottom left. That's what my zipper tells me. I'm going to zip on my bottom left to the quilt back roller. Be nice and going, nice and smooth there. I'm going to lift the compression brake, roll that up just a little, get my leader up to the top, put the compression brake back on, and then smooth my leader and make sure that my leader is nice and straight. Now I'm going to bring the backing fabric all the way across to the back of the frame, smooth it out. With this compression brake released, I'm also going to lock this compression brake down because I'm now using bar number 4, the take-up roller, as a friction point, because as I roll this backing towards me, it's going to stay nice and taut across bar number 4. So I'm going to stand here in the middle, rolling this towards me. Stop periodically and smooth it out, looking for anything that needs a little bit of attention. Now this backing does have a pieced backing. It is a designer back, it's beautiful, but it does mean that I have to stop periodically and smooth this out a little more. So I'm just rolling this towards me. Stop periodically and smooth it out. Okay, this is what I wanted you to see. I have a ripple right here that's building along the pieced backing. So what's happening here is the pieces, these 2 strips of pieced blocks and the backing, they're creating bulk, so that is drawing up the fabric more, and the fabric beside the designer blocks, it's getting skewed. So I need to pay attention to that and be sure that I get everything smoothed out. Use a little wrist action to flatten those seams. Keep rolling. Almost there. See what I'm talking about? You can see the diagonal. Can you see that in the video? You can see the diagonal lines that are being created because of the bulk here. So when you're a brand new long armor, maybe a pieced backing isn't the best way to start out. Maybe you want to buy some of those beautiful wide backings like we have here at Sheridan K Quilting. Just a little plug for the studio. All right, that falls to the tabletop. Now I'm going to go to that side and zip on the top left zipper. Okay, here I am at the back of the frame, and I'm going to zip on the top left. Take that right through Lenny's throat, and we're going to zip on. Now I like to loosen the brake and unroll this just a bit, and you'll see why in just a second. It will allow me to reach over the roller and get a hold of the tab for the zipper. That keeps me above the pins. You do have options to hand-based, machine-based. There are many ways to add zippers to your backing, but because this is the way we do it, that's what we prefer. You have options though. You don't have to do everything the way that you see in this video. This is just to give you an idea of some things that are options for you. So I've used the zippers to attach the backing to the rollers, and now I want to finish loading the backing. I'm going to roll this up, scoot my hand down the leader, put the compression brake on, and then I'm going to go to that side, and I'm going to take out the droop, and I'm going to get this backing on nice and straight. The compression brake is up. I'm rolling this towards me, and I want this to come a little bit closer. So I see how easy it is to lift the compression brakes when I'm standing here on the right side of the frame. Roll it towards me, lock it down, and now I have something to look at here. See these diagonal ripples? I can't leave that in my backing because you don't want any droopy areas in your backing. So when we have seams in a backing like this, it takes a little bit more time. It takes a little more effort. So I'm going to do a little bit of wrist action here, smooth it out, smooth between, smooth it out. No more diagonal ripples. So that's a good way to start when you're loading your backing. Your backing's the foundation that you're building on, so get that nice and smooth and a little bit taut at this point. I'm grabbing my batting, and because I'm doing a video and because it is helpful just to keep me organized, I have a pin in the top of this batting that helps me know that it goes right on top of this backing, because remember I took a pin out of the backing, so I know that I'm not getting things turned around. Spread this out a little bit, walk up to the frame. Because the quilt top roller has been replaced with the Texas Hold'em, that's a very fast process, isn't it? I'm centering it left to right, and I do want to be able to see the pins at the top where the zipper is. And let's remove that safety pin that was guiding me to keep my orientation correct. Now I'm going to grab the quilt top. I have a pin in it also, because I didn't point out to you is that the backing was directional and the quilt top is directional. Making sure I don't get things turned around. All right, I'm going to walk up to the frame, lay the quilt top down, and then I'm going to work on getting it straight from left to right, keeping it nice and balanced. And because this is a designer back, I do want to keep the center of the quilt top in line with the center of the back. And there's my safety pin, telling me where the center of the quilt top is. Take the safety pin out. Take out any ripples. Smooth it left to right. Line it up here at the top. Verify that I can see a little bit of the batting. If I can't see some of the batting, I'm going to give this, see how I'm putting a little bit of air underneath that quilt top? Because the quilt top and the batting really stick together well, which is good because that keeps everything from being, moving around when I don't want it to move. But it does mean that if I want to reposition the quilt top, I have to get a little air under it. There we go. Everything is looking great. We have our backing, our batting, and our quilt top on the frame, and the next part would be to bring our side clamps forward to attach to the backing. We would baste across the top, stop at the corner, baste down the right side, cut our threads, and then move over here, bring up our bobbin thread, do a couple locking stitches, and then travel down the left side. You're going to have your quilt loaded in no time at all. So if you have a Lenny at home or you're thinking about purchasing a Lenny, this is a great way to see how we load a quilt on it. And also remember that your Lenny would have 4 rollers and you have the option of using the Texas Hold'em, which we do sell here at Sheridan K Quilting. And I look forward to seeing you in the studio soon to demo, to take a class, to learn more about our APQS machines. Thanks.